Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be analyzing my game against a 914 and I am a 866. So first of all, you start with e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, knight takes e5, knight takes e4, and then queen to e2. They play bishop to d5, and then I just got a free knight. So once they castled, I moved my queen back, which was a blunder because of bishop takes, which is a great move, and I lose my queen. So what I should have done was what's the best move here? D4 is the best move. I should have done D4, which is way better for me. I'm winning by a lot. So I go queen to E2, and they take the bishop. I go back and then pawn to D6, defending their bishop. They could have moved it back, but they defend it. So instead of this, they should have played C5, which was better than D6. So they played D6. I played D4, fighting for the center, attacking the bishop. They moved the bishop back, which is the only move really. And then I go knight to C3, and they go knight to C6. I go bishop to F4. Should have went bishop to E3, which was better. They get the free pawn, and then I go bishop back to E3. So I'm down one pawn, and I move my bishop twice, which was not good at all. So they go C5, trying to protect the knight. They should have went back with the knight to F5, but they didn't. I go bishop to D3, preparing to castle king side and to get an attack on their king. They go A6, which doesn't really do anything. You can go push, but it doesn't really do much. They should have pushed their knight back. I go queen to H5, threatening checkmate, and they could lose the game, but they play G6, which is a great move. And the only move for me is queen to D1, which is the only move which I did do, in fact. So then they play queen to B6, not blocking their pawn from going here. And then I go bishop to H6 was a blunder to rook E8 check. And then I'd have to go bishop back, which isn't good for me though. Which does happen again. Bishop to F5, attacking my bishop. I take, which is good. And they should have taken with the knight, not doubling their pawns. You'd rather take with the knight to not double your pawns, which pawn weakness, but I guess they didn't realize their knight could go backwards. So then I castled, which is a blunder. So queen takes B3, attacking both pieces. And then, well, it doesn't really attack my rook because my queen defends it, but attacks my knight, which I have to move my knight. But it doesn't happen. And once I castle, they play queen to A5, and then I take the knight for. So when I took the knight, I thought I could take it back, but then there's a bishop here that defends the square, so I couldn't take. So I go knight to D5, which is a huge blunder. The queen takes D5, which does happen. I go rook to E1. They push their pawn, which they should have actually taken to simplify instead of pushing their pawn forward. They take, and I take the free pawn. This is what it looks like. So I'm losing by a whole piece. So they take the free pawn again. I go rook to B1. I go bishop back to G7. I go king F1, trying to bring my king into the game. They also have one pawn up too. They push the pawn because that's the only move. If they didn't, they would have to move the rook. They'd have to move their rook to e7 or to b8. I go rook to b3. They go d5. Stockfish likes bishop to d4 better. I go rook to a3. They go rook to a8. I go pawn to d4, which just blunders. But I gotta go rook to take this pawn because they have to move the bishop. But they don't. They push a5, and then I attack their pawn, which is good. They move their pawn to b4. I move my rook to f3, attacking the weak pawn, and then if I take it, I get to attack another pawn. They take the free pawn on d4. I take a free pawn. They push to a4. I take another free pawn, attacking their bishop. They go bishop to c3. I go rook to b5. They go a3. I probably should have played this, simplifying. They don't have any pawns here, but 2 pawns against 3 pawns, that's okay, but they have a rook and a bishop, so they'd be winning. So a3, king e2, bishop to f6. This isn't good because of rook takes, which they blunder out entire pawn. I take the free pawn. They go rook to e2. I go king d3. They go rook to e1. Going here, going to rook h1 or rook g1 to attack the pawns. I go rook b8, giving a check. There's still no hope for me, thinking I'm down because they're +7 here, 7.2 now. King to g7. I just helped their king go up 1 square, so that was bad. Rook to b3. Rook gives a check. King goes to e3, just in saying if they go rook here to e1, so we could do a draw, I guess. But I guess they're not going to. So rook to g1. They should have defended their weak pawn and then defending it, which will make this pawn not. You cannot take this pawn anymore if the bishop goes here. So it's a rook and 2 pawns. There's 3 pawns, and you can always bring the bishop back. I go g3. They go rook h2. I go h4. I should have taken this pawn still. This is the best move. I should have just left that pawn be, but I push. Rook to h2. I take the free pawn because it's free. Bishop to b2, which they should have played before. Who knows about this move? They should have played that now, but they don't. Now there's a slimmer of hope for me that I could win, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Rook to b3, bishop to a1. Don't really know what that does. They just basically had their bishop back. I pushed my pawn. King to h6, rook to a3. Can go here. I just go here, and the bishop can't attack my rook anymore, and their bishop's being attacked. But of course that doesn't happen. So they play king to h5. So that's just blunders their bishop in 1 move. I don't even see it, which just brings me down. I was higher up, but then I just go down. And yeah, I just go down. They were like losing completely, but now I go down. And they're still winning by 1 point, but I have a passed pawn, and there's nothing really stopping it. So they play king to g4, still blundering their bishop, and they're just trying to get here, but my king blocks those squares. So a6, king f5, still losing their bishop. a7, now it's impossible to stop that pawn. King to e5, and now they're just lost completely after queen a8 equal queen. So now I have mate in 8, but I don't think I found that. Bishop to d4, king d3, rook takes f2. So now there's a mate with queen to e4, king f6, queen takes d4, king to g6, queen takes f2, f6, rook to a6, king f7, queen takes queen to f5 check. Oh yeah, queen f5, yeah. And then king to e8, and then queen takes h7, h6, and then rook to d6. And it's basically done now. h5, and rook to d8 checkmate. But this, of course, doesn't happen. But they take the pawn, and I do go queen to e4 check, king to d6, queen takes d4, king to e7, queen takes f2, king to f8, and then rook to a7, and it's mate into, if the king moves, it's mate, and they just resign after this because there's no saving the king here. They could push the pawn, but they can't. I mean, they could push the pawn here, but it still takes mate. So they just resigned after this position. So this was me analyzing my position against a 9-14. I hope you enjoyed and have a good day. Bye.